Hello everybody, welcome back to another stream, and today we're gonna be doing my thoughts on this game. Um, I'm very late. It's like, what, 8 something? Oh well. So basically I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts about this game. Meantime, showing you guys the, the gallery, or basically concept art. And basically, when I think about this game, it's like at first, like, it's very heartwarming, or not heartwarming. How can I say it? It's a bit sad because you see Joel's daughter die in the first scene, and when I first played this, I didn't really think that Joel's daughter will die in the prologue. I was like so shocked when I actually saw, like, am I actually playing this game or is it just a dream? And eventually I just accepted it, but like I couldn't imagine how Joel can be so loving to him. The one he was she was probably the one last family member that Joel had, like the truly person she loved or he loved. Since we get a hint that he was married at one point and his wife just left him, probably for a better man or for other reasons. Maybe she died or something. I don't really know for sure, but it's probably the last person he had that he truly loved and cherished as a person. And like, I can't imagine how losing someone so important. Like, that's very tough. Joel moves on like 20 years later, like, still dealing with this stupid pandemic that's out there in his world. And he's trying to find a way to survive, but like, he left his past behind. Like, he really just moved on from what what happened to him. Can't really think about it. Then he has like a companion named Tess. Goes around with him. Yes, he found a new companion to like be with, I guess, for the time being, trying to comfort his loneliness, I'm guessing, or him actually. But honestly, my thoughts on this game is like very very high, and what I mean by high is like my thoughts on this game is like I think this game like was the best masterpiece that could have ever been released on PlayStation, because this game's only on PlayStation. Those Xbox users be like, one day, man, one day. But for real, I don't know why they just don't like put this on Xbox. Like, man, you're telling me I have to buy a PlayStation, let alone the game. Well, back then, I think it was might been $60 or something like that when it's released. But nowadays, it's just like the remaster. You can literally get it at like what, Best Buy. I think I saw that at Walgreens at one point. I think I said that wrong, not Walgreens. But yeah, you can get it at Best Buy. Who knows? I think you can even get it at Sears. Who the hell knows for sure? Hell, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it almost. Yeah. That those are the three places I know for sure. Well, besides Sears actually, but I mean, this game's only like $20 literally at that place. Hell, I mean GameStop. There we go, GameStop too. Really like $20. I mean, this game is really worth it to buy actually for $20. Even then, back then too, it was worth getting, considering considering the fact that this game is very high graphic. I mean, just look at the concept art. Tell me that ain't good. Like, the graphics are really high on this. Like, when I first played this game, I never expected it. I never expected like these high graphics are possible. Like, and when I played this on the PlayStation 3, I'm like, isn't this like going over the top? And then when I got my PlayStation 4, I'm like, that's like a graphics of Call of Duty or something, more advanced. The graphics are like really, really good. Like, you couldn't make any better masterpiece. Neil Druckmann had the right idea. He had a lot of people supporting him, and that's the reason why this game got to be this popular, this relatable, and so on and so forth. But like when the last of okay, I'm not even gonna get there. I'm not even gonna get in part 2 yet. But like start of the game, you lose someone. 20 years pass by. That's a hell ton of time moving forward. And he's surviving in the Boston quarantine zone. I always wonder how the hell he made it. So all the way from Texas. I think it was no, I don't think he was in Austin. Um, but he made it from Texas all the way to Boston, which I think it's in Massachusetts. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's in that state, Massachusetts. But it's there. And I wonder how he made it by there. Like, I doubt it. He made it by any vehicles that go through the air or fly in the air, to be exact. Probably evacuated. Maybe who knows? He was probably in a different. He was more than one quarantine zone. I don't guarantee that he was in Boston his whole life during the pandemic. Probably made it through some quarantine zones now and then and collapsed, and they just kept falling back more and more. But honestly, I don't know. Then you meet Ellie, which honestly looks like Ellen Page, to be honest. And when I first played The Last of Us, I was like, are we sure that she's not Ellen Page? And I triple checked, make sure Ellen Page did not voice this little girl, because honestly, you can look at her face and she looks like Ellen Page, to be honest. She was actually voiced by I forgot her name, something Johnson. Ashley Johnson, there we go. Boom boom shakalaka. But yeah, what else? Then you find out that she's immune. Like, I mean, to be honest, there's not that. Wait, hold on. Let me rethink that. Actually, hmm. Okay, then you find Ellie that's immune. I don't think I ever played a game that of a zombie apocalypse genre, and that there's this character immune. No, I don't think I ever played a video game that's like that. But she's immune. Like, oh Jesus, that's a plot twist. I never seen that coming. I thought like, honestly, I thought like when Marlene told us that she needed to be delivered somewhere else. I thought like she needed to be taken care of, right, little girl. But then again, like why do they excuse me? Why do they need to be worrying about this little girl, right? I mean, honestly, she's not important. But I didn't really expect that plot twist when she says that she's immune. I never thought that will actually come into play. I was like very shocked. And then you move on. Then you lose Tess, and then you meet Bill. But before that, when we lost Tess, I was like, damn. Honestly, I thought she will make it all the way into the Salt Lake City hospital. We made it through, and then back to Tommy. I was like, damn. I always wondered, what would happen if she did, and Tommy and her met. And I wonder how they will talk to each other. Maybe she's gonna tell Tommy how Joel and him have been Joel and her have been through crazy adventures and whatnot, or maybe what she had to do, maybe what they were doing, and then when they came back, yeah, that makes sense, totally. But Never got to see the. She never got to see that, and she died. In time, Joel addresses the rules and whatnot, and then Ellie and then they meet Bill, which Bill was like a sort of a badass. Like Bill was like an understanding person. He had a partner at one point. He'd go like, hold on. I'm going like, what? When I first saw that, excuse me. When I first saw Bill, and like, okay, this probably will be another badass character that won't even be shown probably like for a couple of scenes, and then like, dude, we're just gonna go on our merry way and never see him again. But like, Bill was an understanding person. He had a partner at one point, and then they started to have get into arguments, and they basically like their partnership broke up. Basically, like, the relationship as being partners basically broke up, and Frank, as he's called, went his separate ways, and basically wanted to get out of the city and stole the battery, or not stole, technically take. He took the battery out of a military convoy truck that Bill really wanted it for some reason, like that. And ironically, Bill goes like, "That's my battery, fucking asshole." I'm like, but I mean, it's not your battery technically. It's just lying there, so it couldn't have been anyone's battery, honestly. But the thing with that is, he wanted the battery, but there was so much infected over there. And then eventually, we find out what happened to Frank. He got bitten while trying to get the battery, and he writes a note to Bill saying how he was right that trying to get out of the city would get him killed. Basically, he left the battery in a truck, inside the truck. And Ellie tries to get it started, don't know how. If you never used a car before, maybe someone taught her, maybe you're a firefighter too, who knows, who cares. But we find Bill's friend hanging from the ceiling. He basically killed himself, committed suicide, which is something serious. But that's a serious, tough topic to talk about. His friend basically committed suicide. It's tough. He want to turn into one of those freaking things, but who can blame him? I don't want to be like that, trust me. Then after that, we crash into the car. We crash into like a shop because of freaking hunters, and we make it a Pittsburgh, and basically chicken noodle soup, I guess. But basically bleh, 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 bleh. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. Basically we make it a Pittsburgh. These hunters ambush us, make it through, kill a bunch of hunters, and then like crap. How can I say this? And then over time we start learning when we stay in our little visit in Pittsburgh that these hunters were actually won a revolution against the FEDRA, or Federal Disaster Response Agency. And basically they had quarantine zones, took it over, and eventually took the whole quarantine zone. And basically what happened then is, whatchamacallit, I'm sorry. But what happens is we learned that they were good. They were trying to be good people, trying to be better than Fedra. But what happened is these teenagers, they were assholes and killed a whole family. Forget somehow. Basically, they had a little court case about it in their new government, as they said, and basically try to see what the punishment was. But the boss said we can make them like work somehow, like slaves or something like that. Well, not technically slavery. It's more like obligated duty, basically. So basically, I gotta stop saying so much basic. I gotta stop saying the word basically and like too much. God damn it. But They they made them how can I say this? They made them ambush people who came into the city and take their supplies and just I think no, they weren't cannibals. They weren't not cannibals. Yeah, that's what happened. Basically, they took their supplies and basically killed them all. Just put them in a like a little storage room where the bodies can rot, and that's where you find a lot of supplies. But then you meet these other side characters for a couple of scenes till the end of the chapter for Pittsburgh. But basically, you know what? I haven't said basically in like 2 minutes. So basically, we meet Sam and Henry. Sam is like the younger one. Henry is his brother, the older one, like 20 something, while Sam is like, who knows, like, oh no, actually he's 25 because he says he was 5 when the infection started, so then 20 years later, so he's roughly 25. He's 24, 25, or 26, one of those ages. But, so yeah, he's one of those three ages, and basically, god damn it. Sam is like 14. Don't know why, don't care. But we meet them, they talk about it, they talk how they can work as a group. Joe almost killed Henry because he thought he was a hunter, and then they talk it over and blah blah blah, and no, not blah blah blah. They talk over it and talk about how they're not hunters and whatnot, and how they thought they were hunters too. That's why they ambushed them there in the first place. And after that, they go on their merry way and show them how they plan to escape Pittsburgh City quarantine zone and make it out through go through the suburbs and make it to a radio tower, abandoned military radio tower. And what happens there is you go through the sewers to escape, and then you end up at the suburbs, and you go through the suburbs, and and then there's a sniper down the block or down at the end of the street, and there's a sniper that tries to snipe Joel, and then Joel ambushes them, and then he gets hold of the sniper, makes sure you start shooting the enemies that are coming from behind them, and then the Humvee comes back, and he says a line saying, "There's those tourists from the city, blah blah blah. You thought you can get away from us? We're back, motherfuckers!" Not bad though, not bad. But it basically says that, and then what happens is, eventually they start throwing Molotovs instead of using the 50 cal, which I think was pretty dumb. You can use that Humvee anyway. Start throwing Molotovs, and what happened there is, at one point Joel shot the Molotov and it basically exploded. Or no. He was gonna throw it, and it slipped out of his hands, and it crashed or it broke on top of the Humvee, and that made it explode and crash into a house. And after that, there's these little zombies that come out of nowhere and just bite Sam, whatnot. And what happens there is that God, I can't remember for anything. What happens there is that Sam hides it from them. Sam hides the truth to Henry, Joel, and Ellie, and then they make it to the radio tower. And what happens there is they talk about a motorcycle, Harley. There we go, something like that. But Joel talks how him and his brother Tommy rented one, and they drove cross country, and basically they all go to sleep while before that they were eating, and then they go to sleep, and then Ellie barges into Sam's room or something like that, and they take Sam was taking stock about of their inventory of food, and what happens there is they have a little talk, and earlier Sam wanted this toy from them, from a toy shop that they ran into, but Henry said no. So basically, what happens there is that Ellie gives the toy that he wanted so badly, and then he asks Ellie a question since he's infected, and like, "What are you afraid of?" And then Ellie sarcastically goes like, "Scorpions are pretty scary, creepy." And then Sam goes like, "Hmm," and I was like, "Being alone, I'm scared of ending up alone." And basically, Ellie goes like, "What about you?" And then Sam goes like, "Those things out there," because he doesn't want to become an infected because he's bitten. Oh, sorry, my hands. But basically, by the way, I was cracking my knuckles. If you guys thought it was something else, I don't know why. Sorry. Basically, what happens then is in the morning, Sam turns infected and he turns to a Zambi. Basically, he starts attacking Ellie that he pins down to the ground. Whoa there, Buster. Anyway, um, Joel tries to kill him, takes out his gun, and then Henry points to shoots near Joel, but not intentionally to try to kill him, just to warn him, and he goes like, "That's my fucking brother, bro." And what happens from there is they like start like, how can I say it, start arguing while Ellie's being pinned down by Sam, and eventually Henry kills him, and then they start Joel and Henry start talking. So I'm gonna grab that gun from you. I'm gonna grab that gun from you, Henry. And Henry starts blaming him that's all your fault and it's all your fault. And then Joel just goes like, um, it's nobody's fault. And then eventually Henry just kills himself because he doesn't find another reason why to be living in this world and fighting for something, since all he just wanted to do was his little brother to live on. But he died, so he didn't find another reason why but to just kill himself, since he had nothing else to fight for and live for. And then they just what I can guess from the artifacts and dialogue that I've been collecting is that they just bury them. They bury them with a proper burial, and from there, basically just try to find Tommy, and they go to Wyoming and Jackson, which is actually a real place. You can actually go to Wyoming and go to Jackson. Though I'm not sure if it's gonna be the same. There might be a bridge there, who knows for sure, but I'm not sure if this town there is set piece for piece correctly. But anyway, what happens from there is how can I say this? They try to crash a power plant, and they find this little kid's grave, and then they talk about Henry and Sam's death, and then how Ellie shouldn't left that robot over there, like she forgot it, and then they make it to this little gate to into the electric power plant, and they're stopped by these two guards that are guarding from the window from the two towers, and they basically ask them, "Who are you?" One is Maria and the other one's Random. And then Tommy recognizes them, and then what happens is he goes like, "I know him at most." And then he says it that he's his brother. Basically, they calm down, blah blah blah, and he says how Tommy mentions that he is married, and that the fact that Maria is his Maria's her sister-in-law. Yeah, there we go. Um, and then they take a tour around the power plant. They have horses, and what happens there is that they try to get the generator back on, like this little turbine basically that makes electricity with water flowing through. And what happens from there is Ellie goes with Maria to get some food while Tommy and Joel have a conversation. And then they're saying that Joel wants Tommy to take care of the rest of his little job, and that they basically want Tommy to take Ellie to the Fireflies and pick up the payment, which were the guns. And from there, they have an argument, but they eventually agrees after helping them kill some bandits. Damn it! From there, Maria gets a little pissed but grateful that she helped or he helped stop the bandit attack. From there, what happens is how can I say this? Ellie storms off since she realizes that Joel wants to ditch her, and basically we ride horses and we try to track down Ellie, but then we get stopped by bandits, and then we kill them, and then we find Ellie in like a not a barn, like a little house out in like the woods. And basically what happens there is Ellie and Joel have an argument, and then the bandits um that we fought earlier, some of them came back, and they try to kill Joel and Ellie off with Tommy, and eventually they find out like Tommy agrees, but Joel like objects, and basically he says it's my duty and I will basically take her. Doesn't actually said that, but he realizes that that's his job, that he needs to do it. Basically, they end up going to this University of Eastern Colorado, which is not a university, by the way. It's not real. But basically from there, how can I say this? They find out that the Fireflies are in Salt Lake City. They're in crap, I forgot the name of the whatever, but the Salt Lake City St. Mary's Hospital. I think that's what you say, yeah. And from there basically they know where to go, but they're in Colorado, so it's not that close. That close. But eventually these bandits slash hunters were found them. They were scoundering around the town, and they found this university, and they try to loot it. And basically they run into Joel and Ellie, and they need to kill because they need to collect supplies basically. And what happens from there? We try to kill them. Most of them, like a little amount escapes, but most of the majority we killed. And then there's this hunter that grabs Joel by surprise, and they start fighting like in the balcony, not balcony, but like I think it was the third floor or fourth floor. And what happens from there is the railing breaks off, and they fall down all the way down to the first floor. And there's this rebar that there's this rebar that goes through Joel's abdomen, you can say, and somehow he lived. With Ellie carrying him out, and then there's this guy that's about to steal Ellie's horse, or Joel's horse to be exact, but basically Ellie kills him, and they ride off. But eventually, what happens is that Joel goes unconscious from losing too much blood, and somehow, by a miracle, Joel stays alive. And they made it to an unknown location that I cannot make out. Hello, Henry. Hello. Hola. Just making my thoughts here on The Last of Us. And what happens from there is that Ellie, you're in control of Ellie, and you're trying to find supplies, you're trying to find food for Joel and Ellie. But what happens is that they meet David, and I forgot the other one. I forget what the other protagonist is, but not protagonist. I forget what the other side character is. But they basically find like they find David, or they meet David, and then he said that I'll trade you for that deer you got there, and Ellie basically wants medical supplies for Joel, and from there basically crap, I forgot. James, there we go. James, Jesus Christ. James goes and gets 2 bottles of penicillin and a syringe. And from there, basically what happens is they seek shelter, but these clickers come in. What happened? Oh, I'm just explaining like my thoughts basically while we look at some concept art. Yeah, that's basically what's happening. I'm explaining my thoughts and explaining the story too. And basically from there, what happens is how can I say this? They take shelter, clickers come in, and they fight them off. Bloater comes in, fight them off, and then kill them. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And basically, they go back to the deer. And no Zam Zam got it. I can see why. But from there, what happens is how can I say it? James comes back with the medicine, and he's pointing the gun at Ellie. But then David tells him that how can I say this? um, David tells James to lower the gun and just give her the medicine. Yeah, from there, I'm gonna continue this part tomorrow since I have school tomorrow, and I need to get some shit rest. My bad. But from there, yeah, we'll continue from part two. Parents B, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna continue from there. I'm sorry. Sorry that has to end this way. Thank you. Bye.